Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Some are calling it a housing crisis.
We know that at virtually every income band below the wealthy, there are housing pressures in Bloomington.
We kick off our series on affordable housing by looking at what the city's doing to address the problem. As an Indiana icon is laid to rest, his impact lives on. Thousands gather to honor the late Hoosier statesman, Richard Lugar. And as they gear up to plant crops this spring, Hoosier farmers are running into a problem on rural roads: other cars. As tractors and combines get bigger, they're running out of road.
The stress that we're under to get the crop planted, produced, and to market is as big of a part as moving around on the roads.
Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Bloomington's downtown is rapidly changing as new apartments, hotels, and businesses go up. As the city continues to grow, many wonder what it could mean for affordability. As part of our City Limits project, we're answering your questions about the changing community. And one resident asked, what's being done to ensure there is affordable housing among the new apartments and home construction around town? Barbara Brosier seeks out the answer in part one of our series on affordable housing.
When Kelly Toto moved her family to Bloomington for a better life, she wasn't prepared for the rent price that would come with it.
$700 seemed outrageous. Back home it was like $500 for a full house.
Like most renters, she had no choice but to pay the price the market demanded. But her luck and her life changed when she moved here to Habitat for Humanity's Trailview neighborhood.
I cried, I think, the first year every time I looked around at my house.
The city and Habitat want to give more people an opportunity to own a home. So they announced a new partnership this week. They're working together with private donors to build another new neighborhood southwest of town for up to 50 families.
Osage Place will offer homes for new residents who have household earnings between 25 and 80% of area median income.
The city will pay up to $800,000 in infrastructure costs associated with the project. It's the Hamilton administration's latest effort to address the lack of affordable housing in Bloomington.
The need continues to be great. We have nearly 20 families currently in our program, and they deserve a decent place to live today.
And that need is only expected to increase. The city's 2018 comprehensive plan predicts the population will surpass 100,000 people over the next 20 years, which means Bloomington will need more than 12,000 additional housing units.
I think it's a critical issue. We have a housing crisis in this community.
Deborah Meyerson is executive director of South Central Indiana Housing Opportunities. The nonprofit focuses on expanding housing options for low and moderate income households in 6 counties. She says housing affordability is particularly challenging in Monroe County.
There's 2 ways to lower the cost of housing. It's either to make rent or housing payment less or to increase wages. And so to manage housing costs, you need to do either of those. And the city and Monroe County has both considerations. They have high housing costs and low wages.
A 2018 report from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition says Bloomington has the most expensive housing in the state, and someone would have to work more than 2 full-time jobs at minimum wage to afford a 2-bedroom, fair market rate apartment. Meyerson says that's one of the reasons her organization is partnering with the city on Switchyard Apartments.
It's a terrific location. It's on a bus line, it's near the Beeline Trail, it's close to downtown.
The 16 units will only be available to low-income households, and they're going up right next to Switchyard Park. The city is leasing the land to the nonprofit for just $1.
One of the challenges when you build a beautiful new park, you create value all around it. Another way to say that is prices go up around a new park like that. And so one of our commitments was to figure out how do we make sure we don't gentrify, if you will, or we don't drive the mix of incomes that are there now away from that park.
Another affordable housing complex is further along in Bloomington's Trades District, right next to the Beeline Trail. Beeline Heights will serve families at or below 60% of the area median income, with 2 units reserved for those below 50%. The city says that brings the number of affordable units it's added or rehabbed to more than 600. But it will take more to meet the need.
We need more housing supply. We need more housing subsidies for lower incomes. We need to figure out how to build the housing for households that don't qualify for subsidies. So it's really important to look at, I think, from a comprehensive mode.
That includes looking at the large number of residents who earn above the area median income and still struggle to make rent or mortgage payments. The city's comprehensive plan says more than 80% of Bloomington households spend nearly half of their annual income on housing and transportation. Hamilton says the public and private sectors have to work together to change that.
Bloomington could get so expensive that you can become what's called a barbell city, where you have really high cost housing and you have really heavily subsidized housing and you don't have a lot in the middle.
Preventing that from happening, experts say, will require a solution that expands beyond the city's limits.
Reporter Barbara Brosier joins us now to talk a little bit more about the issue. So Barbara, is there anything that city officials can do, though, to help encourage affordable housing?
They can, Joe, when these new developments or proposals come up, as they're evaluating them to see if they meet certain requirements, the city can ask a developer, hey, what are you going to do to help us with affordable housing? And there are a couple of options. One of them is the developer could actually do something with, the apartments they're building, like reserve a few units for affordable housing. But then there's this other controversial approach. The city created the Housing Development Fund under the Hamilton administration. And essentially, it allows developers to make a contribution to the city in lieu of offering affordable housing. And then the city uses the money from that fund to fund affordable housing projects. But like I said, it is a little controversial because some people say those contributions are a little unethical.
But we've heard people say, well, if you build a lot of housing, it will bring rent prices and even housing prices down. Is that happening? Can that be measured?
What we're seeing so far is it isn't happening. And that is something that a lot of people, when I talked to them for this story, said we need to increase the housing stock. But we need to increase it by so much and so quickly that we're not seeing that effect. And another reason we're not seeing the average rent come down could perhaps be because a lot of the big new apartment complex are these luxury student apartments. And those are apartments that people are willing to pay quite a pretty penny for. So they're actually bringing the average rent price up instead of down. It's not affecting the landlord down the street who's already been there and making them want to lower their rent.
So you kind of left us hanging at the end of that story, but there's more to come next week. So what are you going to look into then?
Absolutely. So we talked a lot this week about affordable housing in terms of low-income families and their needs, how they're being addressed. There's this whole other segment of the population, though, in Bloomington of people who earn the average salary or even above the average salary, and they also cannot afford housing in this community. And so we're going to look at that, what's being done to address those middle income folks and what a solution looks like, because it is going to involve more than just Bloomington, experts say.
Okay, Barbara, thank you very much. Looking forward to that. And we want to hear your questions about the changing face of Bloomington. You can join the conversation by going to WTIU.org/citylimits to ask your questions about the past, present, and future of the city of Bloomington. The legacy of architect I.M. Pei stretches from Beijing to Bloomington. Pei, who designer of a number of striking buildings across the globe, including the Sidney and Lois Eskenazi Museum of Art on the Indiana University Bloomington campus, has died. He was 102 years old. He was already one of the most famous architects in the world when he completed the iconic Angular Art Museum for IU in 1982. The museum shares its triangular glass ceiling with Pei's iconic addition to the lobby.
If you look at our atrium skylight, the ceiling, and look at the framework, look at the dramatic way that shadows are being cast behind me, I think those were all things that he must have been thinking about as he approached the Louvre.
That pyramid addition to the Louvre was controversial at first, but eventually became a beloved landmark for Paris. Pei also designed the Cleo Rogers Memorial Library in downtown Columbus, Indiana. Brenneman says Pei was the most grounded and humble star architect of his generation. Now, for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. A former state Supreme Court justice is set to take up allegations that Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill committed professional misconduct by groping 4 women during a party. A pre-hearing conference is scheduled for Monday. Hill maintains his innocence, and a special prosecutor declined in October to pursue any criminal charges against him. The Disciplinary Commission, however, wants him to face action from the state Supreme Court. DePaul President Mark McCoy is stepping down at the end of next school year. He's been the president since 2016. His tenure at DePaul was not without controversy. In 2018, DePaul faculty held a vote of no confidence in McCoy.
Our restructuring and some other decisions that have been made at DePaul recently have not been particularly popular decisions, but they've been the best decisions for the long-term interest of DePaul.
Many of the faculty said they were concerned with the school's financial status and cutbacks to their health insurance plan. McCoy was also criticized for the way he handled an incident in April of last year when racial slurs were written on a bathroom wall at the school. McCoy is assisting in the search for his replacement. A recent change in the law for Hoosier teachers includes new licensing rules that require educators learn more about workforce and career-related needs for their students. The new law requires teachers earn 15 of the 90 professional development points they need to renew their license through workforce and career navigation-focused programs. And Switchyard Brewery has a new brewing class that qualifies.
They're going to taste beer, they're going to learn about how beer is made, they're going to learn about our startup story and how we took a business from a garage to, a 1,200 barrel per year, a tap room and a production facility.
Cummings says more than 150,000 people viewed the Facebook post announcing the class last week, and nearly 100 have signed up, some from as far away as Fort Wayne. To make the classes convenient, Cummings is offering them all in one day, so teachers don't have to keep making the trip back and forth. Meanwhile, the Indiana State Teachers Association is pushing lawmakers to change the new licensing rules. A plume of cancer-causing chemicals in drinking water wells in Logansport has been added to the Environmental Protection Agency's Superfund National Priorities List. The list helps prioritize some of the most contaminated sites in the country and makes them eligible for federal cleanup funding. The city's well field is contaminated with PCE, a cancer-causing chemical. Patients and employees at Logansport State Hospital, a psychiatric hospital, rely on the city's water, as well as Logansport residents.
So we feel it's important to find out what the source of that contamination might be and then restore the aquifer to its drinking water standards.
The Indiana Department of Environmental Management says the city water is being treated and is safe to drink, but local officials say residents with private wells may want to have their water tested. The groundwater contamination site is one of 7 Superfunds the EPA added to the nationwide list on Tuesday. About 40 active Superfunds in Indiana are on the national priorities list. Estimates show most rural Indiana counties will lose a significant portion of their workforce by 2040. Rural communities often lack the amenities that can draw in new workers. The state is getting involved to try and help those communities improve what's called quality of place. Indiana's Office of Community and Rural Affairs plans to funnel $100,000 to rural areas.
Ochre really wants to focus on creating and retaining talent in Indiana. We want to grow that talent in Indiana, and especially in rural. And we also want to create places where people want to be.
State data shows only 14 counties are expected to grow their workforce population over the next 25 years, many of which surround large metropolitan areas. And for the first time, you can reserve campsites in advance at the Indiana Dunes. It's always worked on a first-come, first-served basis. Under the new system, 34 sites can be reserved up to 6 months in advance. The remaining sites at the Dunewood Campground will remain first-come, first-served. The Dunes National Park covers 15,000 acres along the southern shore of Lake Michigan in northwestern Indiana. What a camping spot, too. Those are going to go quickly.
Yes, I grew up there. It was always a big deal to climb Mount Baldy.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. More than 1,000 mourners gathered in Indianapolis this week to say goodbye to American statesman Richard Lugar. And many farmers have to travel narrow roads to get their crops in the ground. Ahead, we'll look at why newer, larger equipment makes that a problem. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing
for insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the Senate.
You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, statesman, Boy Scout, and father, those are just a few of the ways those who knew former Senator Richard Lugar best describe him. WTIU's Adam Pinsker takes us to Indianapolis, where thousands gathered to honor the Indiana icon this week.
Hoosiers getting one last chance to pay their final respects to Senator Richard Lugar in the city where he got his distinguished political career started more than 5 decades ago. Former Senator Richard Lugar's journey through life came full circle as he was honored one last time at St. Luke's United Methodist Church, where he was a lay elder.
There's a Boy Scout rule that says you don't leave a campsite as good as you found it, you leave it better than you found it. And Dick Lugar left Indiana, America, and the world better than he found it.
Vice President Mike Pence led the service, which prominent politicians and Washington dignitaries attended. Former Democratic Senator from Georgia Sam Nunn was among them. Nunn and Lugar worked together for years on convincing nuclear powers to decommission their warheads.
Cooperation and compromise in politics is often misunderstood today. Some take it as meaning you give up your principles. Dick Lugar never, ever compromised his principles.
People also praise Lugar for his 8 years as Indianapolis mayor, turning the sleepy town into a world-class city.
If you knew my father, though, for any amount of time, you know he was an avid writer of thank you notes. Dad wrote thank you notes for everything, for gifts, for cards, for meetings. If you showed up at his office, someone shows up, takes a picture, it gets signed, he says thank you for attending. So it's only appropriate that I send a couple of thank you notes on his behalf.
The vice president says Indiana will be forever impacted by the contribution of Lugar and former Senator Birch Bayh, who died in March.
You know, it's remarkable to think that two giants of 20th century Indiana politics departed this world within a few weeks of each other. It's the end of an era.
During the eulogy, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett urging people to carry on Senator Lugar's legacy of bipartisanship and diplomacy around the world. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Well, planting season is here, and what's top of mind for many Hoosier farmers is how they're going to get into their fields. Tractors and other machines keep getting bigger and bigger, but there's not enough money to widen roads to make room for them. Brock Turner has more on the dilemma local governments face when deciding how to allocate limited road funding.
Eric Scheller has been waiting all winter to get his crop in the ground. He farms several hundred acres of corn and soybeans in Vanderburgh County. As his acreage has increased, so has the size of his equipment. This tractor has a set of duals, which helps him pull a new 12-row planter. It covers twice as much ground as his old one.
In the last 50 years, machinery has gotten bigger, and in the last 10 years, we've seen a huge increase in size of machinery, what it takes out here to do the job. We're less and less farmers and growers out here in the country, so it takes a lot more to get across the same acres that we're trying to feed the world with.
Scheller says fewer farmers means more stress trying to get crops in and harvested, all while ensuring they're taken care of in the field. But as he makes those final preparations to enter his fields this spring, there's a separate stress that's taking up a big place in his mind. Getting there on the narrow county roads.
It's equal parts anymore. The stress that we're under to get the crop planted, produced, and to market is as big of a part as moving around on the roads. There's a lot more liability on our part from moving around on the roads in today's society. People are not very patient with us because a lot of people are removed from agriculture.
Scheller says while his equipment has gotten wider and larger, the roads haven't changed. And on narrow roads like the ones that connect many of his fields, that creates a treacherous situation.
Yeah, moving around on the road is definitely a stressful task. If you meet somebody on a county road, it's to the point, the width of the machinery, that you have to stop, pull over, and let them pass you. And the roads need to be widened to a point.
However, widening those roads is easier said than done. Cheryl Musgrave is a Vanderburgh County Commissioner. She says Scheller's concern is one she's heard from several farmers across the county. But there's not much she can do. Many of these roads were designed and built over 100 years ago.
I can only imagine that these roads were built maybe 1850 or thereabouts. I mean, in 1850, I don't think that they had much concept of the realities that we face today. So, no, this is very much a modern problem. How do you adjust to the equipment that is being used in farming today versus what are the legacy roads that we've inherited?
Vanderburgh County only has about $3 million to spend on road projects each year. The county budgets $1 million per lane mile to rebuild an existing roadway. So they've largely ignored the needs because the money just isn't there. They'd rather fix potholes and resurface existing roads that more people use than build new in rural areas.
Maybe 4 or 5 cars a day that travel on the road. And of course the farm equipment doesn't travel on it very often, only certain months of the year perhaps. So it's a very lightly traveled road. Big ditches on either side of the road, so it's not like you could just scrape off a bit more dirt and pave it and make everybody happy.
Musgrave says it's that way in much of the state. Counties and local governments just don't have the funds they need. She's hopeful state and federal dollars will help, but doesn't see anything changing anytime soon.
Right now, I think you can say we look a lot like an ostrich with its head in the sand. Not a lot we can do with the funding that we have at present time.
Everyone agrees more dialogue might be able to chip away at the issue, but there's far from a consensus. John Stoll is the Vanderburgh County engineer. He's responsible for deciding which roads get funding and how much. He says there's a possibility of widening small sections of the narrowest county roads, but even he admits that's difficult.
It's trade-offs. You get complaints from the farm community due to the lack of the width, but likewise, if you pursue that option, then you turn around and get the complaints from the residents who are saying they need their subdivision roads addressed. With the funding being what it is, there's not enough to really pursue both.
Scheller understands the bind policymakers are in. He doesn't expect things to change overnight, but hopes more meaningful dialogue can eventually lead to results.
I think there's a lot of discussion needs to happen between now and then, that we need to sit down and have good, meaningful discussion between growers, landowners, and county commissioners to get the details worked out. But there needs to be some talk between the groups.
In the meantime, he'll have to continue to pull over for oncoming traffic and navigate the narrow roads the best he can. He plans to travel up to 15 miles on these roads to reach his farthest field, and getting in a hurry is not an option. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
And a towering agave plant is forcing Indiana University's greenhouse to make way for its rare blossoms. Greenhouse staff says it could eventually reach 30 feet tall. Now, despite being called the century plant, the agave americana normally lives up to 30 years and blooms at the end of its life. This one has been at the Jordan Hall greenhouse since at least 1972.
That's how we know it's probably 50 years old or more, just because of how long I've been here.
The term century plant can refer to several species of agave, which are desert plants. One species of the plant is used to make tequila. Lemon says the plant's bloom cycle could last for several more months. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news at WTIUnews.org.
Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members.